So now we'll take a walk down to the town area shown on this map here. And yes, we're actually walking on a modern road which goes right through the middle of the site. And here again is a typical Roman 3-arched entrance gate, and Yasser is now going to explain the situation.
Now I'm ready. Here we have the architect map of Palmyra. Temple built here outside the defensive wall. The city surrounded with defensive wall with only one gate. This gate, we call it Hadrian Gate, because Hadrian, he gives Palmyrians title Roman citizens, and he forgives them from paying taxes.
And as we said, after the Romans took over and Petra collapsed, Palmyra became the main caravan stop between the Mediterranean and the East. The merchants of Palmyra became very rich, and a lot of these things were built to show how rich they were. A short walk and we're at the theatre. Now what we see here was buried in sand until about 1905, and anything above the sand may well have disappeared, and the thing may have been a bit higher than it is now. Although we said the Romans took over, Palmyra was run very much on a semi-independent basis, like a sort of protectorate. But eventually the Palmyrians started to act too independently for the liking of Rome. Then there was a change of regime in Persia, and the Romans took over completely. Our old friend Diocletian established a massive fortified camp at Palmyra in 300 AD. Trade began to decline, and although Justinian in the 6th century repaired the walls and defences, the whole thing started to crumble back to the desert from which it came. Now we're coming up to the Tetrapylon, which is located there, and if we look over to the hills there, we will find an old Arab fortress. And on top of one of those hills is this Arab castle, Qalat ibn Man, which was built 1,000 years later than Palmyra. Just a note here that in the 5th century the Temple of Bel was converted to a church, and there was a bishop of Palmyra. But we have to leave now because we're heading back west to our next stop at Mishtaye, just near Crac de Chevalier. So we're coming into the northwestern area of Syria, just north of Lebanon, and we're almost in an alpine setting with hills and rain and green grass. The area is in fact a holiday retreat for Syrians, and there are a lot of churches in this area, as you will see. And could that be? I think it could be. There's another church, and here we are at our hotel. This is a view from my balcony. The chap who owned this hotel turned out to be the priest at the local Greek Orthodox church, which we'll see later. View from my balcony. Now let's just have a look round. You see plenty of greenness there. And we're coming up the hill, and what have we got here? Crac de Chevalier.